WAK Tutorials. This is Sunny. This is my this is the third tutorial of my ethical hacking course. In this tutorial, we'll try to learn what is LAN, what is WAN, what is IANA, what is DNS server, what's the difference between network ID and host ID, what is IP address, what is the difference between static and dynamic IP addresses, how to assign static IP address and dynamic IP address, what is IP version 4 and what is IP version 6, what are the classes of IP, what is the difference between private IP and public IP address. But before that, if you haven't subscribed my channel, please subscribe by clicking subscribe button and hit the bell button so you can miss any kind of notification from me. So guys, I'll try to cover much in a short time. So let's move to our first question, that is, what is LAN? LAN, it is a short form of local area network. The second point is it is a computer network that interconnects computer or other devices within a limited area, such as a school, office, or a residence. The next question is, what is WAN? It is a short form of wide area network. It is a telecommunication network that extends over a large geographical area. LAN extends on a limited area, and this extends on a large geographical area. WAN is often established with least telecommunication circuit when WAN is established after a proper agreement with ISP. So here, as you can see, this is internet. This is ISP, which is internet service provider. It provides us internet access. This is our router, and these are the devices which are connected to this router. Internet gives access to ISP with WAN through WAN, and ISP gives access to router through WAN. In the same way, router gives access to our devices which are connected to this router through LAN. As you can see, it extends on a large geographical area. It may extend in maybe in a country, and this is a LAN which extends on a limited area like our school or home, something like that. Our next question is, what is IANA? It is short form of Internet Assigned Number Authority. It is an organization which is responsible for for IP addresses assignment. It is assigned a task to oversee global IP address allocation. So guys, as we can see, we cannot assign our own IP address. We have IANA which assigns us IP addresses, either it is static or it is dynamic. We'll talk on this static and dynamic later. And the next thing is, what is DNS server? It is a short form of domain name system server. It is a computer server that maintains a database of all public IP addresses and their associated host name. For example, they maintain a database of a host name, for example, a website, for example, www.WAK and its IP address, it's the static IP address. It maintains all database about that. It also serves to translate those common names to IP address as requested. For example, this guy types www.google.com in his computer. Since computer does not understand our language, so it sends this request, www.google.com request, to DNS server, which translate this www.google.com into its IP address. This is the IP address, the static IP address of google.com, and send back to this computer on its own IP address. Guys, a website has also its IP address, and each computer has also its IP address. We'll talk on this later. The next question is, what is the difference between network ID and host ID? Network ID describes which network you belong to, and host ID, it describes what is your host number. Host is any computer is connected to a server. Let's suppose our internet is a network of networks. For example, this is one network, this is another network, this is another network. All of these networks are connected to internet by this concentrator, a router, or something. For example, we take IP address of this PC, which is connected to the server. Let's suppose its IP address is 163.152.2.1. Since it belongs to second class, we'll talk on classes later. This belongs to second class, so the first two describe its network ID, and the second the second portion describe its host ID. It describes which network you belong to, and this portion describe which is your which is your host ID or host number. Next question is, what is IP address? It is a short form of Internet Protocol address. It assigns your device a unique number that links your device to internet world. It gives your device a unique address, just like your house address. It gives your device a unique identity that differs your device from other networks that are a part of a same network. No two devices, keep one thing in mind, no two devices have same IP address. For example, this lady calls KFC and orders pizza. The KFC sends pizza to this lady on the same address that she has given to the receptionist. This address gives its house a unique identity. In the same way, our server, for example, our server requests for some kind of data, requests for some kind of a website. This internet doesn't know what we're talking about, what we are requesting, so it sends our request to DNS servers. We already talked on DNS servers. DNS servers, it translates the DNS. It translates the website into its IP address that we are requesting and send back to this PC. Thus, it gives our PC a unique identity. So our next question is, I think that's pretty clear. Our next question is, what is the difference between static and dynamic IP addresses? The first comes is a static IP address. The first point to be noted is it is assigned to a computer by administrator. We'll talk on this, how we assign IP address. We'll talk on this later. It serves as a permanent IP address. The third point is it never expires until administrator changes it himself. But the question is, if it never changes, why we need static IP address? We need static IP address because most businesses use high-speed internet to run their servers. The owners want their internet address to stay fixed with the same numbers all the time, so people know how to access their servers. The second need is it is also used by DNS servers to help us to open a website, because all websites have static IP addresses. They never change. The next comes is dynamic IP address. It is configured automatically either by computer interference or host software itself. Our system produces dynamic IP addresses automatically by default. The third point is these are temporary IP addresses. Static IP addresses were permanent IP addresses, and these are temporary IP addresses and are assigned to devices each time they are connected to a network. For example, I connect my devices to my router, assign IP address, one IP address. The next time I connect to my router, it assigns another IP address to my device. Thus, it always changes. It never remains the same all the time. The fourth point is they are in fact borrowed from a pool of IP addresses. IP addresses, we take dynamic IP addresses temporarily and borrow them from a pool of these IP addresses. And the next question is, if it changes all the time, why we need IP address? The answer is we need IP addresses because we need our IP addresses to be changed every time so that they can't be traced easily. So keep one thing in mind: static IP addresses are considered less secure than IP addresses, the dynamic IP addresses, because static IP addresses do not change and can be tracked easily. On the other hand, dynamic IP addresses changes every time, so they can't be tracked. They can't be tracked easily. Our next question is how to assign static IP address and dynamic IP address. So let me show you how to assign them. To assign static and dynamic IP addresses, move to control panel. Let me bigger the screen. Then click on network and internet. Here click on network and sharing center. Then click on change adapter settings. Okay, now right click on this one and then go to properties. Okay, now click on IP version 4 and then click on properties. As guys, you can see our system is set by default to obtain dynamic IP addresses. If you want to use static IP address, just type your static IP address in this bar, and if you want to use automatic dynamic IP addresses, click on this one and then click on OK, and that's it. The next question is, what are the versions of IP? We get two versions of IP. The first one is IP version 4. We can shortly call them IPv4. The second one is IP version 6. We can shortly call it IPv6. The first comes is IP version 4 or IPv4. The first point to be keep in mind is the IP version 4 was first installed in 1983. IP version 4 address consists of 4 groups. As you can see, this is a static IP address. This is IP version 4. It consists of 4 groups, each separated by dots or periods. Each group is separated by dot, or you can call it a period, consisting of 3 digits in each group. Each group consists a maximum of 3 digits. It can consist of 0, 1 digit or 2 digits or 3, but the maximum must be 3 digits. Each number in a group ranges from 0 to 25. Each digit in a group should not exceed 225 and shouldn't be less than 0. In this system of IP addresses, numbers are represented in decimal number systems. Decimal number system is a system in which we have 10 digits from 0 to 9. It can provide a maximum of 2 raised to power 32 addresses, about 4 billion addresses. It is a 32-bit system. For example, let me show you how it is a 32-bit system. This is an IP address version 4. If we convert this, it is represented in decimal number system. If we convert this into binary number system, we get 8 digits in each zeros and ones in each group. So we have 4 groups, and 4 times 8 is equal to 32. So we can say that it is a 32-bit system, and 8 bits is equal to 1 byte. So we can also call it 4 multiplied by 1 4. So it is a 4-byte system. We can call it 32-bit system or a 4-byte system. Since guys, as you can see, we all have about 2 to 3 or 4 devices connected to connected to internet. So the limitations of the IP version 4 are kind of filled, because we all have 2 to 3 devices, so it cannot provide that much device. IP version 4 cannot provide that much IP addresses. So the internet owners install another system. We can call them IP version 6. IP version 6 IP or IPv6 was first installed in 1995 because of the limitations of IP version 4. IPv6 address consists of 8 groups. Each group consists of 4 digits. separated by a colon. Since as you guys can see, this is an IP address, IP version 6 address. Each group, there are 8 groups, you can count them. There are 8 groups. Each group consists of a maximum of 4 digits. It shouldn't exceed 4. It can be less than 4, but it shouldn't exceed 4 digits. And each group is separated by a colon. It is a 128-bit system. We'll talk on this, how it is a 128-bit system. In this system, groups are represented by hexadecimal number system. Hexadecimal number system is a number system in which you have 16 digits from 0 to 9 and A to F. We won't go in brief because we are trying to cover much in a short time. We do not have that much time. In case of all zeros in a group, it is represented by a colon to shorten the group, to shorten the IP address. For example, this group has all zeros instead of 67CF. It has 4 zeros, so we can shorten the group by putting a single colon instead of this group. It says it can provide up to 2 raised to power 128 addresses. I don't know the exact digit because it's too much. It's much greater than our requirements. It's much greater than our need. Even our upcoming server generation won't be able to fill these addresses. It's much greater version. So as guys you can see, and this is an IP address. Let me show you. This is an IP address. It has 4 groups which are zeros, which are totally 0. So we can zeros can be omitted and we can put a colon instead of this group. So we can write this long IP address in the short form. This is 2001 colon 0DB8 colon AC10 colon FE01 colon, and this colon is for this 4 group 0. This 4 0 group. If it is represented in hexadecimal number system, if we convert it into binary system, so we get 16 zeros and 1 separated with a colon. 18 multiplied by 6 is equal to 128 bits. So it's a 128 bit system, or we can call it a 16 bit system, because 8 bits are equal to 1 byte, and so we got 2 bytes in each group, and 2 multiplied by 8 is equal to 16, so we got 16 byte version. This is these two are IP addresses. This one is IP version 4 IP address of Google. This is the Google IP address. Both of them are Google IP address. This is represented in IP version 4, and this is represented in IP version 6. I think pretty easy, pretty clear. The next question is, what are the classes of IP addresses within IP version 4? We don't have classes in IP version 6. In IP version 4 IP addresses, we have, it's my mistake, we have 5 classes of available IP ranges: class A, class B, class C, class D, and class A. These are the classes. This is the range. Class A ranges from 1 to 26. This is the address range. This is the number of this is host ID and network ID. The first group represents network ID, and the rest 3 represents host ID. I think we have talked much briefly in host ID and network ID, and it can provide about 16 million IP addresses per network. And the second class ranges from 128 to 191. This is the range of IP address. The first 2 groups represent a network ID, and the second portion represent host ID, and it can provide about 65,000 IP addresses per network. The third class is C. It ranges from 192 to 223. This is the network. This is the address range. The first 3 groups represent network IDs, and the last group represent host ID, and it can provide about 256 different IP addresses per network. Third group ranges from 224 to 239. It is the address range, and it is reserved for multicasting. The group E represents this is the class C, ranges from 240 to 255, because this is the last group, because our IP address should not, that it is in IP address, should not exceed 255. This is address range, and this is left for experimental purpose, for research purpose, and we do not have, and it does not support, because it is not allowed to, because we're not allowed to use these two IP addresses. But you'll be wondering that why 127 range is missing. Range is 127.x.x.x, for example. It means 127.0.00 and onward, or reserved for loopback or local cast. For example, 127.0.0 is a loopback address. Range 255 to 255 broadcasts to all hosts on a local network. That should be kept in mind. It broadcasts all network on a local network. So our next question is, what is the difference between private IP address and public IP address? The first point that will completely clear this question is a private IP address is in most ways the same thing as a public IP address. It's in most ways the same. These both are the same things. When you try opening a website from your computer, the request is sent from your computer to router as a private IP address, after which your router requests the website from your ISP using the public IP address assigned to your network. I think pretty clear. It mostly clears your mind. The key difference between these two IP addresses is private IP addresses, or the addresses used for identification of a device within a network. For example, if your computer is connected to a network, then the IP address provided to your device will be what we say private IP address by your router. They are not valid on internet. They are not used on, they are weak, so it means we cannot these IP addresses are not connected directly to internet. On the other hand, public IP addresses are for the devices accessible on the network. For example, internet is provided by ISP to our routers through public IP address, and the internet is provided to ISP through public IP address. So the points for private IP address is private IP addresses are used internally in a network and are normally protected by a firewall. As I already talked about this topic, this point, that if you're connected to a network, your router provides you private IP address. They are not connected to internet directly. These are connected. These are connected to your router, and then your router further connects to your internet, so it doesn't connect directly. Private IP ranges are assigned by IANA for internal use within a network, and I think we have talked on IANA. Private or internal, we can also call it internal IP address to each network device inside a network is issued by your router. For example, as you see, your router must have this IP address that is provided to your device. This is a default IP address provided by most routers. This is also a private IP address. So now let's talk about public IP address. Public IP address is issued by ISP, Internet Service Provider. It is not provided by your router. They are directly connected to internet. No any kind of obstacle in the way. They are used externally. It means we cannot use inside a network. You'll have to use it outside the network. For example, this is our router. This is our router. I think this is our router. This is a line to represent the LAN side and WAN side. LAN side, we have already talked on LAN and WAN. It is provided. LAN is provided in a small region. It is a lower geographical region. When it's provided on a lower geographical region. Internet provides access to ISP through public IP address, and ISP provides internet access to router by public IP address. So on the WAN side we have public IP address, and on the LAN side we have private IP address. This router provides access, provides our PC provides access to internet to these PCs that are connected to it through what we say private IP address. So on LAN side we have private IP address. That's all for today. Thank you for watching my videos. I'm telling you again, if you haven't subscribed my channel, please subscribe it by clicking subscribe button and hit the bell button, and please like if you like my video, please hit the like button. Thank you.